So we're talking about our SaaS Security Inline. So these are some of the modules. So we can kind of like, put it on steroids if I put it that way.
Just bulk up.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to Season 1, Episode 3 of Learning Happy Hour. Today I have a very special guest here in Singapore. I've flown down to our Singapore office here and I'm meeting with Kwok. So it's great to have you on the show. Please tell us a bit about yourself.
Wow, a lot. So I've been 20 years, 25 maybe, experience, broad range. So I do application development for the Singapore taxation. And that's an interesting one because we kind of catch, people who evade tax, delinquent taxpayers, for example.
Yep, it's not me.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And then of course I did, infrastructure, moving servers, right, managing data centers, and of course the next one will be migrating huge chunk of data, your email, for example.
Okay.
10,000 users from across the globe.
Right.
Right. We used to migrate like 5,000 users over lunch. Go for lunch, come back, and you're on a new service.
And you're on the new system.
And
is that just for email or for like all different types of systems?
We do email. We do Active Directory as well. So we migrate Novell, Windows NT to your Active Directory. Okay. And we have to do...
It's old school.
Yeah, it's very old school. But it's more to it than that because your file systems, you have to re-permission that. Because
so it's never an easy, it's not just drag and drop, is it?
No, apparently not. So you have to plan for it. Usually we spend 60% of the time planning. And when we execute, we do by huge chunk.
Like big waves?
Yeah, big waves.
Gotcha. Yeah. And what's your, that's a bit of background. Mm-hmm. Your role now at Palo Alto Networks. You can see it on your shirt there. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Yeah. CDSS champion. I haven't got it. I didn't bring my champion shirt to Singapore.
So CDSS is interesting. It's a cloud-delivered security services. We talk a lot about zero trust, ZTNA, zero trust. How do you inspect, do the inspection before you actually trust that person? So that's part of our cloud-delivered security services. A lot of ML and all that. You have to be in the cloud to scale, right? Machine learning.
Because when people think CDSS, I had this in a recent class. Mm-hmm. The assumption is, you're talking about Prisma Access. Just Prisma, that's it. CDSS is Prisma Access, but that's not right. There's so many other moving parts. Yeah.
Correct. I like to see Prisma Access at the foundation where we put in the plumbings and all that, and then of course CDSS is where you do your inspection. Right, if the person passed through, if you think about immigration, right? First, you want to travel, so you go immigration. You'll check your identity, your passport. Is it clear? Did you pay your taxes?
Do they check that at immigration?
Oh yes.
Oh really?
If you don't
to stop tax evasion, people skipping the country.
Correct.
I didn't even
correct.
That.
So we have a few cases of
All right, it's a pointer for next time.
Yes. So it's part of security check. It's not just your passport. There's a lot of things going in the background of it. Right. So oftentimes, people don't see it. And then you go to the luggage, they'll scan your luggage, X-rays.
Yep.
Right. Now, there's more than X-rays now, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, that one, the stand. Oh, sir, X-ray. Why do you have something in your pocket? I don't have something in my pocket, it's just my pocket.
Exactly.
That one?
So those, from when you travel, but from a cyber security standpoint, there are a lot of these layers. Because I want to know whether I can eventually trust that person.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah, so that's key. You have to go through these layers. And cloud, it makes that really fast, seamless. That's why it's so transparent.
Right.
And we have to do that before the user hits your critical application on-prem, right? And we are not talking about just web.
Web traffic.
Yes, exactly. I mean, web traffic is huge these days.
Big umbrella.
Exactly. But every organization, they always have these legacy applications still on-prem. Because the crown jewels is so priceless.
Yeah,
it's hard to move to the cloud. Even to AWS, the risk is just too high. People okay, let's keep it there first. That includes, and that's even more that you have to do these security checks. Yeah.
You mentioned CDSS. You said Prisma Access is kind of like a connectivity layer of that. Yeah. But CDSS still benefits on-prem firewalls, for example.
Course, yes.
That's still in its scope of
Correct.
of influence.
Exactly. And I think there's a lot more we can do on-prem firewall because some of these features, they're not switched on. So I give you an example. You buy Wildfire, right? You want to inspect the malware. You say you want to do DLP now. And after discovery, we realized that the SSL decryption is not switched on. So I can't see anything, right? So that's nice, cool.
Common.
You bought it. Yeah, it's like, but it's not. Yeah. So that's key, right? Make sure you have all the protection layer put up. Because why? The threat actors will find that gap, and they'll just come in. They just need one gap, and then just come in.
And that's what they'll utilize. Yeah. Right. So you've got some interesting stuff prepared for me. So just for you, for my background, we've been talking over the last couple of days, I know, but just for the audience as well, I have a fairly strong background in Strata, in our firewall space, in Prisma Access, XSOAR and XDR and Cortex suite, I love it. Beautiful stuff. It's wonderful. XIM, cool. What I know almost nothing about, I'm not ashamed to admit it, I guess, maybe. I don't know anything about a lot of the CDSS options that are out there. And I don't know much about the DLP side of things either. So there's a few key areas that I'm like, probably should learn about this.
CASB,
So exactly. CASB. So what have you got to show for us today?
So those are very important. CASB, DLP, data privacy is huge today. A lot of government trying to put in, to protect your data, my data, our customers' data, right? Our employee data. That's key. We want to see how that moves up. So these are two key things. CASB more so, especially when you're doing SaaS applications, right? So we talked about Office 365 that moved the first wave.
So just to be clear, when we talk about SaaS applications, we're talking about like cloud delivered, like your Gmails, your Office 365 suites, your Salesforce. So apps that we're using that they cannot be on-prem. You're buying them as a service. They're cloud hosted by whoever you're purchasing that product from.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
SaaS, software as a service, it used to be on-prem. It takes weeks, months to build. And 30 minutes, bing, So
you don't have to worry about redundancy or any of that stuff.
None of that. It's all there. Data get backed up. Encryption, beautiful. New features just come out every month. Like, wow.
Which is good and bad. Less control.
But, the control is worrying. So the first wave is, your productivity, Office 365, Google, Mail, stuff like that. And then you have your business side of things with Salesforce, IT, ServiceNow, and then you have the Workday. So that's the first wave. The new wave are your AI, your ChatGPT. So even ChatGPT, they came out with an enterprise API connector.
Yeah.
So you consume, the next wave is very different. ChatGPT, you want API. I want to, hang on, connect to my Salesforce. I want to connect to this.
That sounds really scary from a DLP perspective.
Of course.
So we've had a drive, a lot of companies are, to say, hey, let's get more of our workflow AI driven. Let's get more of our internal stuff AI, call it enhanced, right?
Enhanced, yes.
But there's always the risk of, who owns that data? And what data are you sending there?
Exactly.
So with XSOAR and ChatGPT, I've very easy to integrate, where I can include in playbooks and automations ChatGPT-based outcomes. So you could, for example, I want to write an email, or let's say some incident has happened, and that particular person who is involved, I want to notify them that, hey, we're investigating this, and we need to give us a bit of time. We've stopped or blocked that traffic, or whatever the outcome is. But the point is, I need to communicate with that person. But I don't speak Spanish, and he's from our Spain office. So what am I going to do? Well, I could send what I want to say to him within the tool. Say, hey, ChatGPT, this is the message that I want to pass, and then translate that straight. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but it's doable. And it's an interesting use case. But the content of that message, what if it had sensitive stuff in it?
Oh, the content is important. Sensitive stuff. The context is important because the recipient is important. You have internal users. You have a security guy. You have your customers.
Yeah, right.
I need to send it. I have to craft that content, right? So the message is clear. If you want to add, you have in DLP perspective, there's some level of degree of education I want to include in the context. So the ChatGPT will be, everyone's
looking
at how we can capitalize on this ChatGPT.
Yeah, but it's scary, right? Yeah. They're not considering in the rush to not adhere. What's the word? To onboard.
Onboard, yes.
We're just throwing a lot of the security components out. Like, we'll worry about that later. Same when you're developing new software. When you're in a rush, you don't think about security first. You think about I got to get my product out the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and of course the delivery mechanism. So X4 will orchestrate the whole thing for you. Like when you send it, trigger by event. Of course, you have exception. I may not want to do this, right? So we have ChatGPT at the content, awesome. But how are you going to deliver the mechanism? And one of those that you mentioned, Prisma Access, how are you going to deliver these security services? Where are you place it?
Yeah, so back to the security service piece, because we went on a tangent there on the DLP thing. It's very exciting. But so then what... With the CDSS side of things, because you showed me something yesterday that I thought was like, well, hang on a second.
Yes.
So we talk about applications and App ID, and those of you watching this, you probably are aware of what App ID is on a Palo Alto firewall, right? We have, I can't remember how many it is, over 4,000 something now, applications. For standard App ID. But you showed me like this overdrive, like, did you know, Renan, when you include SaaS like granularly, it just explodes. Can we see some of that?
Yes. So we're talking about our SaaS Security Inline. So these are some of the modules. So we can kind of like put it on steroids, if I put it that way.
Just bulk up.
Yeah. But think about it. App ID is not just web traffic. So App ID covers all network protocols. So our heritage is in network, right? Firewalls in the network. So we see the whole spectrum, right? There's some who only look at web, nice, but as a threat actor,
I'll take whatever I can get.
Why should I steal something and go down that path where there's a low security camera and my face can get seen, like SSL decryption? Why? So App ID is awesome. If you are a firewall administrator, you love it because you can do granular control. But what about the web? What about the SaaS application? The explosion, like ChatGPT just came out in the beginning of the year, like no one heard of it. And now you're struggling. Like, you don't want to put URLs in there. That's nice, but that may change, right?
Yeah, as in you don't want to use the URL as your criteria for allowing or denying, you mean? We
don't have URL category. That's awesome because you have a whole group.
There probably is like a category for like AI or something, right?
Yes, correct. But then I don't want to block everything because my human resource is like, Ronan, why are you blocking that? This is really good. ChatGPT, right? Everyone thinks it's safe.
Everyone's thinking it's safe. That's right.
So can we have that? No? So that's where SaaS Inline provide, that granular, detail in terms of when you write your policies.
So you mentioned SaaS Inline.
Yes.
So that's a separate product.
It's part of the SaaS Security. So SaaS Security, help you to secure all the SaaS application, anything related to SaaS. And there's 3 categories. So you have SaaS Inline. So that gives you the full visibility, any traffic that goes through your firewall, in what SaaS application your employee consumes.
Yep.
It could be a new TikTok sensation that came out.
TokTik,
yeah. And you get to see it.
Yeah.
And you also get, we give you information on that application itself, how risky, what are the securities that put in place in terms of the operations.
Similar to what we have with App ID today, right? Like on a firewall.
Yes. So firewall we give you from a network perspective. Is it evasive? The characteristics, right?
Known for file transfer, known to be used by malware.
Correct. We do give that. Once SaaS Security Inline or SaaS Inline tells you all about that company, how they run their operation backend.
Right.
Yeah. For example, what do they do audit on GDPR, PCI?
Right.
Because I'm dealing with credit card information, I'll get audited.
Interesting. So when you wanted to, like a SaaS application, like let's say Dropbox, then instead it's not just about its network characteristics.
Yep.
Is it evasive and things like that?
Yes.
But it's more so about the organization behind Dropbox.
Yes.
And what their not just best practices, but kind of what standards they meet.
Yeah, the operations, the hygiene.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so all those that you have to take. And let's take, for example, your finance come, hey, I got, this SaaS application is cool, right? We're going to subscribe to it.
Yep.
I also have the other one that, so how do you tell which, they'll come from the function perspective, but as a security practitioner, we want to see which one is more secure.
Yeah. Well, you might get a question of, hey, we're considering these two solutions.
Correct.
Have security team, do you have any input on that?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of time it's tricky because our mindset thinks these applications is on-prem. There's always a firewall in front that I own, but these are internet-based applications.
Yeah.
And often I ask customers, can we put a firewall in front of it? It's a bit cheeky, but can we? Of course you can't. You don't own the infrastructure.
Yeah, not between them and whatever they're talking to.
Yes.
But you can from if you're like sitting in the office accessing that SaaS app.
That's fine. But when I step off the office, or at Changi Airport, for example, there's a terminal there.
I spent a few hours there.
Yeah, let's do. We actually can. So you brought up Prisma Access. That's awesome. So we give you dedicated resources. It's only yours, not shared. In that, we give you a dedicated IP address.
As in, you're talking about using Global Protect to connect to Prisma Access?
Yes. So Prisma Access, the egress, we give you a dedicated IP. The same as the static IP that you have on-prem on your firewall.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So some of those more matured SaaS applications, they do IP whitelisting.
Right. So you can only I'm getting you
now.
You
see the connection?
Yeah. So with a scenario with, say, a Prisma Access style solution where we're getting users to VPN, not to on-prem, but to connect to Prisma Access in our solution.
Yes.
Fantastic, because technically they're going through a firewall. Their traffic is being protected, same as it would be if they're on-prem.
Yes.
When they go home, same level of protection.
Yes.
But people turn off their VPN.
Yes.
Right? It's running a bit slow, or I don't want the office to know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
So disable it for a bit. And what you're saying is now, because Prisma Access is giving them a static IP when they're connected, and because the SaaS service has the ability to say, well, for this customer or this tenant, only allow connections from on-prem IP and Prisma Access IP, you will only be able to use, let's say, I don't know if Dropbox has that whitelist capability.
Yes. So our application that whatever info attributes we feed, we will tell
One of them has like as a flag, right?
Yes.
So we can easily filter by show me all the SaaS apps. Let's pretend Dropbox does. I don't know if it does.
Yep.
We could find out, could we? Easily?
Yes, we could find out.
Okay, we'll have a look at that in a minute.
Yeah.
So let's pretend it does. So then I could say, I'm happy for you to use Dropbox, but only if you are traversing some of our security infrastructure, be that in the office, in which case you get a public IP from the office, or be that at home through Prisma Access.
Correct.
But if you're just at McDonald's without any VPN or anything enabled, So
that's
kind of cool. I never thought of it.
It is. So if I say I want to do zero trust, I have to inspect regardless where you are.
I've really never considered the idea of that whitelisting thing. I've seen it in some documentation, but I'm like, okay. But that's such a strong use case for it.
It is.
All right, cool. Can we have a look at some of the App ID stuff?
Yes.
So you've got something already shared here.
Yes. So this is our Applepedia, the usual place that all our firewall admins go.
Yeah, applepedia.paloaltonetworks.com. Nice. I've used this a lot.
Yes. Yep. So that one thing we spoke so much about SaaS application, SaaS there. So it's about 868.
Applepedia has, 4,367 apps?
Yes, that includes all the other protocols.
And of those, 868 are SaaS specific.
SaaS
right, okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Let's get the steroids going.
Let's look at the steroids.
Let's look
this is with SaaS Security Inline or SaaS Inline.
Right.
Look at the same SaaS. What do you see?
Okay. This is a few more.
77,000.
77,000.
We added about two more digits.
Yeah, that's a lot. So now, crazy powerful, but the point here is that App ID database, if you want to call it that, if you purchase this license, what was it called again?
SaaS Security Inline.
SaaS Security Inline.
Yes.
Then it is enhancing your on-prem firewall as well as your Prisma Access ones, correct?
Exactly, yes.
So you're getting more granular control over App ID. Can we have a look at maybe like one or two of those examples?
Let's look at a few samples. So this is 1009. That's one of the SaaS apps you can see here. Right?
Oh, yeah. Can we try Dropbox?
Oh, good question. I think Dropbox could be one of those earlier wave of applications like Office 365 that is in our Applepedia by default.
It is, yeah. I've seen it in Applepedia, yeah.
But so what we are looking at is the explosion of SaaS applications. How do you detect all of these?
77,000.
Yes, exactly. So yes, Dropbox is there.
Can we see if it's got the static? You mentioned there was like the the ability to whitelist.
Of course, yes. So we want to see, like, tell us about the application that finance want to subscribe to. How risky is it? So this is from a SaaS Security Console. Not only I'll go into the application detail. With SaaS Security Inline, I get to see what application does my user use.
Right, visibility.
How much data and so on. So
that's useful.
Yeah, we have a few switch on for our customers. Prisma Access, and we turn on for the...
I can tell you this is not my environment because
not.
There's only 450 meg of YouTube, and I do in 90 days. I do a lot more than that.
we see a lot of Netflix, Disney Plus, So heaps. Let's look at the application dictionary.
Okay, this is like App ID kind of thing?
Yeah, in a way. So we recognize 64,000 SaaS applications. Then you may ask, but this only 64. We saw 77,000.
Where's the next 13,000 gone?
Yes, it's like I can't. Now the thing is, SaaS application not only tell you the traffic to the SaaS application, we give you the granular control function. So if you flip back a bit, we'll go there in a minute.
Yeah.
It will detect. Oh, is he uploading? Is he sharing? When you click that network signature.
And we have that a little bit in traditional,
yes.
like LinkedIn posting, for example,
yes,
or
exactly.
Dropbox upload. So my device doesn't allow me to upload to Dropbox, which is frustrating because I use it all the time. I can download from Dropbox. I can't upload to Dropbox. So that's with traditional App ID, we can implement that. Yeah. So this is now taking that same capability, but 64,000. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
So that grew, same time last year, I think, it was probably at 30,000.
Yeah, so it's double
now. Double. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So let's dig into some of the few. So if you look at LinkedIn, for example. Yeah. So a little bit of the company background, and this is when we talked about the operations, the SaaS application features, and so on.
Right.
Using encryption in transit. Yes, I think it's secure. So if I'm going to upload sensitive data and store in there, okay. So that a lot of these audit logs.
Some of these columns or the fields are impressive to know.
Correct.
Straight off here, like data ownership.
Oh yes, yeah.
Right. I think straight to that.
Yes. Well, SaaS application like even your AWS is all these are shared responsibility.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's the key. We talked about the IP whitelisting.
Oh yeah.
IP-based restriction.
So is that's ticked? It doesn't need to be green. That's ticked. Oh, so LinkedIn does support IP-based restriction. So if I wanted to, I could make it. You can only LinkedIn through our infrastructure.
Yes.
I like that.
I subscribe. That's my tenant. And now when I do that, any of them employee want to access LinkedIn, they have to go through your zero trust.
Yeah.
There's no exception.
And I noticed there's password policy here as well.
Oh yes, that's pretty good.
So even though it's not our product, it's not our server, the LinkedIn server, it's a cloud-based server, we can enforce password security.
Yes.
That's huge because often organizations like ours included have accounts that can post officially on LinkedIn, the official Palo Alto networks, whatnot.
Yes.
So this one means that they can't, the administrator for that, whoever they are, can't do it from home unless they're through Global Protect.
Correct.
And the password that they have for that account also needs to be pretty tight.
Yep.
So we're securing that channel. Imagine if someone did something malicious. If they had a really weak password and someone's like, oh, the password was Happy Meal 72, right? And then, cool, Happy Meal 72. And now I'm starting to post as Palo Alto networks. We can
we can restrict. Wow. The IP restriction is really powerful. Think about it this way, phishing.
Yeah.
Right? So, someone asked me, I have a QR code, the guy clicks it, he gives you a URL, he goes to this website, and he literally steals your CEO's,
credentials
to your Office 365. Now, with the traditional CASB approach, SAML redirection proxies, you just let him in. Right? With our approach, you hit Prisma Access, we got heaps of layers.
Yeah.
Right, of security, and the threat actor wouldn't even know that he is supposed to go through Prisma Access. He wouldn't even know that he had to put GP. Even if he did, he wouldn't have gone through.
Yeah. As you said before, why would I go through the gauntlet of security cameras? I think is what you're saying.
Oh yes.
Watching me.
Why?
Yeah.
And there's a window. It's open.
Yeah. We're on the 10th floor. But...
Oh no, that won't work. Sorry. But you're on the first floor, ground floor. Yeah, that's the window, and we'll talk more about that. Open window, like hello, why would you have that window open?
We'll I get you. And this is about attack surface.
Yeah, so we have to do not just 360. in terms of different layers, the dimension, I would say, different angle, right? We have to really look at that seriously.
It's
really powerful.
Yeah. And again, we keep talking about Prisma Access, but you can purchase this just to enhance on-prem firewalls, right?
On-prem firewall, yes, yes. You can do that. And that's the beauty of CDSS. It's just a service in the cloud. Switch it on.
You're pretty hyped up about the CDSS thing.
Of course.
I'd say you're a CDSS champion.
Because, well,
this is really cool. I'll admit,
my background is data center, and I push out, email servers.
It
takes so long to set it up, and not just that, day 2 operations. I have to patch the server, downtime. That's
just general maintenance. Is just
exactly. It's just a pain.
Right? I had no idea that it got this granular, and this is just for LinkedIn. Can we have a look at the Dropbox one?
Oh yeah. Let's look at Dropbox. Let's see. I mean, this is in terms of the what they call that, the vendor maturity in terms of how they're trying to make those secure. So the usuals are there.
Yeah.
Right. HTTP header.
I like how they tell you about the level of encryption in transit as well.
Correct.
That's interesting. IP-based restrictions unknown.
It's not there. They do have MFA, which is nice. So our phishing, credential theft, that's covered.
Okay.
Unless they do like SSO integration with our credential, then there's a different story, like maybe Okta support, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, gotcha.
And Dropbox, you're going to store terabytes of information in there.
So there's so much here.
Yes.
How do we consume this? It's one thing to have Applepedia.
Yes.
How do I, once I enable this licensing on an on-prem file or Prisma Access, is it just the same way you typically create a policy, select your applications, but now we have 70,000?
Good question. So policy creation, there's a prerequisite before that. You need visibility first. You don't want to start blocking stuff and then you will disrupt business process. Not cool. Not cool. The rep have, this deal that he want to book, not cool, right?
Don't want to have that conversation.
Cool. So we start with visibility. If you have all these logs going through our cloud data lake,
right?
Awesome. Switch it on, and you get all these information flow in.
Right.
You have all these applications that my users are using. Right.
Right.
I could filter it by risk, for example. Let's start high, and then we'll come down slowly.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can do, let's say, high risk. Let's see. Oh, looks like.
I don't know what any of these are.
Oh, look, artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay. Is it? Queen AI?
Yeah, Queen AI.
Okay, category, of course it is.
Who are users, how much information they uploaded. And
let's pick one of these and explore it a bit.
Yeah, so let's look at Queen AI.
What is Queen AI?
There you go.
I think you'll probably tell us here, right?
One user. Oh, yeah, of course. A lot of unknowns, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to gather this intelligence, so we have.
Well, I appreciate that it's not just hiding the field, it's there. So if it says unknown, it means you still, as an administrator, you should, or as a security person, you need to consider it. So I appreciate that they're being transparent about it.
Correct.
Because they could have just hidden everything and said, these are the 3 things we know about this app.
Exactly.
But instead they say, here are the 3 things and the 40 or whatever unknowns for the new app. I think that's cool.
Yeah. So as a cybersecurity practitioner, unknown is not really a bad thing. Yeah, we are all practitioners. There's no sorry, I'm not an expert.
Champion.
I'm a champion, but I'm still a practitioner.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we have to do our due diligence. Maybe check out the app, talk to the user. Right? Maybe he accidentally clicked one. Right?
Yeah, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. It might not be, it's not a false positive. It happened, but it doesn't mean it's a use case.
Correct. After all, we do see the upload and download. Look at some of these feeds, right?
Well, we're seeing here 609 bytes. So you're like, okay, that's nothing. But then below it, it's of 1.38 gig total.
Oh, yeah, that's curious. So as we ingest that, give and take, right? So all that go through our firewall will capture. But detail is not the key thing. I mean, how many users hit these apps? Because it's 10, high risk. We have 1 user, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
I think one of the key things as a cybersecurity practitioner is collaboration. You have to talk to your business.
Yeah.
You have to. DLP especially. I'll give you an example. I can't say, bank account number, not cool, cannot upload, and I block that, right? Because we are leaking information.
Straight up block bank accounts.
And then payroll will come to you like, what's going on?
Oh God, yeah, it's a good point. Imagine.
Do you not want to get paid?
So then you have to create more granular policies. So you have to. It's a balance, right?
It's a balance.
The most secure. This is something I tell my students in classes. The most secure environment is the one that's unpatched and powered off.
Oh, of course.
It's also the least useful. And even that's still not perfectly secure.
It's not.
But it is the most secure in terms of what you could roll out.
So how do you want to reduce your risk? So, and if you're not talking to businesses, number one, if you want to reduce risk, you disrupt them. Number two, if you don't talk to them, you will not know what other risks they put in.
Yeah.
I think that's key.
Communication's key.
As a threat actor, the more an organization do not talk to each other, the better it makes me. My chances goes up.
Yeah, actually, 100. That's so valid. I've got some real world scenarios of that. Maybe we'll share it later.
So that's key, right?
But yeah, no, you're 100%.
Yeah. So it looks like my users disappeared. But let's go back to the application. So there's many ways you can filter it, high risk, or if I just want to remove that, maybe I sort, in terms of which applications get a lot of data uploaded, right? So usage, for example. Oh, actually, I'm already sorting by usage. Sorry.
Sorry.
There you go. Yeah, of course, YouTube. So
okay.
We know it's not you. So
No.
So Google Docs, a couple of these, Office 365. Now, here's one thing. We have customer asking some of our engineers, how can I tell the difference between your, my partner, for example, your Office 365 and mine?
Well, they have a tenant ID,
Tenant,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we do detect tenant.
Oh, okay.
So I can tell who are who. Now, this is quite complex because a lot of people think that, it's so easy. And they get a lot more complicated because SaaS application vendor try to do a better job. The early days of tenant recognition is in your URL.
It's old school.
Yes, old school. As a threat actor, cool, I just comb my DNS and I'll pick your tenant up because I want to target you. So they went there to putting into the HTTP, the what I call the data and all that.
The actual header for it.
Yeah, HTTP insertion and all that kind of stuff. So we pull that. Now Google is doing session. We have to do session tracking for Google. So the app vendor, they get matured. They know they're being hacked, right? Microsoft.
Yeah, they tighten things down.
Correct. So
it's as I was saying before with developers, we got to do what we got to do to get the product out the door. Correct. Okay, then we'll start securing.
Yes.
So when you're saying as a vendor gets more mature, then they're starting to use more advanced mechanisms for protecting their customer traffic and things like that. I noticed it with banks as well. I won't name which banks in Australia, but one of them uses message level encryption. So it's not just HTTPS, but then within the actual payload, it's encrypted with a certificate. So even if you do a man-in-the-middle attack, like you're doing it in a lab yourself, you can't get the bank, like the raw details for bank A, but you definitely can for bank B.
I'll tell you this crazy thing with bank. This was like, I think almost 10 years ago. Internet banking. So this is in Korea. So you want to do internet bank with this bank, they will, through your browser, install plugin, they will scan for keyloggers.
Oh, okay.
So if you have keyloggers, sorry, you cannot. So they're already doing that 10 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. So on the endpoint device, we have to do some stuff around that.
Yes, some stuff around. Maybe you don't know. It's just recording.
Well, no, stuff in a sense that we tend to lock down, but because the bank needs to get that in, that plug in, so we have to open.
Oh, to allow it to.
Otherwise, finance can't log in. It's like.
Yeah. Because the channel can't, the confirmation channel can't be established. So you can't. Okay.
So you can see, I can clamp down, but I have to be mindful that my business have to continue operating.
Which is why back to what you're saying, the communication is key.
Which is key.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. With AI now, everyone is jumping on the AI bandwagon.
Yeah.
So people want to consume. And this is a very, very important. We want to see how these users are consuming.
So we're getting all this information. We were talking about how we, as administrators, can consume this. So we've got visibility. We have the discussion with the business group to say, hey, is this actually what we need?
Yes.
Let's look at the users who've used it, how much traffic we have.
Yes.
Is there a business justification for whatever that AI one was?
Yep.
And then let's say the answer is, oh yeah, I think we want to do this.
Yes.
So what's the next step?
So we're thinking ahead, right? Putting in place probably operation day 2 kind of thing, visibility good. Let's go into the policy writing. And this is one of the cool things that you can actually tag one of these applications and see here that's sanctioned.
Okay.
So organization already subscribed to it, let's sanction it.
Right.
So we're going to allow that. Right?
Yeah.
DLP is a bit lax because when there's a lot of stuff in there,
Yeah.
you can put it unsanctioned, like this guy over here, no Facebook, sorry. And you can start writing your policies. Being mindful of your policies, you don't want to end up having 200 policies.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
So that's a little bit think about it, how we want to do it. And that's why visibility is important.
Well, this is where, because these are going to come up as app IDs on the firewalls or Prisma Access.
Yes.
And because they're coming up as app IDs and because you've tagged them, you can create an application filter
Yes.
based on that tag.
We do have policy recommendation. I've tagged them. I can build my policies, and then I can push it onto my firewall, Prisma Access and Firewall. And that goes into
so you don't even need to create the policy.
No.
I'm thinking we do it manually. You're like, how about just, how do you do? So you click add. So basically you're toggling, I can see enable.
Yeah, it's like a block AI. Maybe I want to craft it first. I really don't want to block it. It's disabled. And then I can pull in all my artificial intelligence, those with high risk, for example, action, block, and we can specify the activity, the various activity, not just totally block.
Depending on the app. Exactly. So this one doesn't have upload, download because it doesn't make sense in this context, I suppose.
Exactly.
But if you pick something like Dropbox.
Yes. And I could put in...
per user as well.
Per user, yes.
So basically you're in this console creating a whole policy that is going to be consumed by
the
our
firewall.
NGFWs.
Exactly. The user, even the posture, we do a hip check on the GP.
Yeah.
And I put the posture.
Right.
Of course, DLP, right?
And this is the DLP piece.
Yes, DLP piece.
Which separate license, right?
Correct. Yeah. So you can do this, maybe different teams doing that, and you can apply it. Now, for the advanced firewall guys, you can do it on your firewall.
That's me. I'm
advanced. Okay, hardcore. Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah. So suddenly you have like 77,000 app IDs.
Yeah.
Right?
What do I do?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I use application filters, right?
Group them. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But just the visibility that this is offering is really good.
Yeah.
So once you create this policy and save it, I noticed up above there was something about synced.
Yes. So we do sync it. And then of course you have to import it. So you do it only once. Import it because firewall is where you want to slot it in.
So what happens is you go in here, you say, I want this available on my firewalls. Then you go to the firewall and it's like, here are some pending policies to implement. Is that correct?
Yes. Right. And you have to be mindful, because you still have your existing policies.
Yeah, you need to make an informed decision as to where in the stack it sits. Yeah.
So that's just one time. And as you go, there's new apps, SaaS application exploding. You can add in more SaaS apps. You can adjust the users. You don't have to touch your firewall because that's in place. You slot them on our slot already. Yeah. It's like queue number. Queue number 2, and then the rest will just get synced for you.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful.
Right. And again, the license is called?
SaaS Security Inline.
SaaS Security Inline.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
SSI? Or it doesn't have an acronym?
Yeah, no, yeah. The posture one have.
It can't be SASE because SaaS Security Inline. It's just SASE. That's already taken. You can't.
What we're offering is SASE enough for me. Right. So.
Right. Well, that's really cool.
And it's awesome because people talk about integration, people talk about consoles. Single console is easy to do, right? It's web-based, but when we talk about integration, we are literally integrating the policies as well. Single policy.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Learning Happy Hour. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in certification or further development and training through Palo Alto Networks, we have a number of instructor-led training courses available. Just visit us at paloaltonetworks.com/services/education, and you'll find ILT, instructor-led training, certification details, and some digital learning too. Advanced question. Earlier you mentioned the whitelisting capability of some SaaS apps. So we noticed Dropbox was unknown, so not confirmed or denied. But LinkedIn was the one we saw does support that mechanism.
Oh, the whitelisting?
The whitelisting, right?
Yeah.
How do we tell this system? Do we need to tell LinkedIn? How do we tell LinkedIn what our IPs are?
You have to go into their configuration console.
Okay, so you have to log into their tool. It's not magically through here or something.
No,
okay, not yet.
So they're telling LinkedIn that this is a secure pipe channel that's coming in.
Yeah.
If someone come in from different IP and LinkedIn say, sorry.
They can't authenticate you.
Yeah, that's not a clean channel.
Gotcha. Yeah. But you need to log in to LinkedIn and manually apply those IPs. Okay.
Yeah. So those are what's available. So I think that's awesome. Is the network administrator, right? Same thing. What they're doing, they're having more visibility. It's like what 1080p your TV.
1080p, yeah.
Yeah, and 4K. Now it's 8K. So that's the big difference. Yeah, without SaaS Security Inline, you're running 1080p. So now with this, you're like
it's a lot.
8K.
Yeah, you can see it's like having glasses.
Yeah, I can see all this. Yeah.
Right.
So that's, I think, from that perspective.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot in there. I like the IP whitelisting because when you deal with SaaS application, it's outside. There's no control. Very little control. Very little control. Now we have so much more control.
So that's our inline.
Inline.
What are the other options in that umbrella?
Well, good question. So those are inline. Now, SaaS application, there are a lot of out-of-band traffic.
Now, when you say out-of-band, we're talking cloud to cloud, not coming through our on-prem stuff.
Cloud
or
to cloud.
Client to cloud, but not through our on-prem stuff.
Okay. So if you think about, we use Google Drive. Awesome. We share folder. We collaborate. We have our partners. We have our suppliers. We do projects. I share out my folder to my supplier.
Yep.
And when my supplier comes in and work on those documents,
yeah, collaborative.
That's out of band.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Doesn't go through the firewall.
No, because they're not a Global Protect user.
Yeah.
But they are accessing our resources or our files.
Exactly.
Uploading stuff, downloading stuff, modifying.
So the whitelisting of IP address doesn't apply to them. It's applying to your employee logging into.
Yeah, but what about these other guys? Well, I don't trust that partner.
Correct. And that's the API part where we have cloud to cloud API from our cloud, API to their cloud.
Okay.
So again, the SaaS vendor maturity, what API they provide us. Some don't even have. Right? They don't even have. And then if they provide, what are they providing? Some very basics like, I just give you logs like user activity, and that's it. So
okay. Yeah.
At least that's not too bad.
Visibility is the first step, in the right direction.
Correct.
But we want control. Well, ideally, we want granular control.
Yeah, policies writing. Yeah. So do the control. So the not so mature just give you, user access, user activity. Good, at least something. Some will say, I'm going to give you more, like Office 365. You can scan every document in your OneDrive.
Okay.
Could be terabyte, you can scan.
Now, when you scan, you're talking about like a wildfire scan.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
Because there's a new vector coming in, I share to my partners. No one knows, right?
Yeah,
so there's a zero-day malware, I accidentally dropped that in.
Well, we won't even say they're a malicious partner, but we don't have control over their endpoints. We don't know what their hygiene is like.
Exactly.
So it could be all good intentions, but if their machine is compromised and they have access to our Google Drive, then an attacker, a threat actor could use that vector to then upload some malicious payload. It's now sitting in Google Drive, and me and you unsuspectingly are going to download that file.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is Wildfire will, as that file gets uploaded, make sure that anything that is in that common shared area of Google Drive be scanned and then confirmed is malware, is benign.
Correct. So that's data at rest. You could be using it for 5 years, right? So you have 5 years worth of data. We will scan every single one of them.
Right, okay.
We'll send a wildfire, we'll put in a sandbox.
It's not just new files.
Not just new files, everything. So we'll send a wildfire, sandbox, that CDSS service, awesome, a lot of ML. We'll give you a report if it's malicious.
Yep.
And I can go lengthy. We mentioned XSOAR there, and a lot of SOC people, I was surprised. He said, you could do this? You could actually scan the data? I could use, this whatever detection you have, zero-day malware.
That's an interesting thought, isn't it?
Yeah, I can get that. We have API integration. We will create an incident. We'll give you the full spectrum. You can initiate your threat hunting from there.
Yeah, right. And then you could, because the tool, the cloud-based tool has the audit logs and the visibility, even if it's after the fact, 6 months later, we detect, this file is actually, maybe originally we even saw it as benign. Happens. Now it's actually that's malware. We can backtrack it to see which partner was the one that was compromised that uploaded the file.
I could have a partner,
or employee, of course.
I have a user activity because that file is shared internally.
And
who
then
touched
see
the file?
Where's it gone since?
Who touched the file?
Yeah, that's very useful.
So huge information. It's part of XSOAR data enrichment, and suddenly we have so much data.
Yeah.
And the SOC guy's like, this is cool.
Yeah. And it can be easily automated.
Yes.
Yeah. For those of you interested in XSOAR, by the way, we do offer a really good course, EDU 380. So it's a 4-day course. I'll put a link up here.
So we'll talk a little bit more XSOAR, where it's a little bit SOC, DLP angle incidents. That's interesting. So we will have we have some questions coming up, right? I guess.
Yes, actually we do have a question. Yeah. Shall we attack that now?
Yeah,
let's do it. So we did get a question. As per last episode, I mentioned if you have a question, there's a link below. If your question gets selected for the next episode of Learning Happy Hour, then we will send some swag your way and we'll discuss it. So this one's an interesting one. It comes from Ong Chin Ching. We have customers who are using DLP. When a major event occurs, generating thousands of incidents, what can we do in terms of automated response to make the large amount of alerts manageable?
Wow. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's a valid point because it's often, it's easy to get lost in, there's a nice word for it, but it's not alert exhaustion, but it's needle in a haystack, but it's too much noise, right?
Yes.
So you have a situation, lots of alerts come courtesy of something like the DLP side of things, which we haven't discussed in and outs of, but what are our options in terms of that platform?
So, good point. So XSOAR is awesome for the SOC guys. Now, SOC, when they do an incident, is usually less connected to the business process, right?
Right.
The business will say, malware, take it away. And then we're done, right? But DLP, we just block a file. The case where the bank account, I just blocked it, right?
Yeah.
So XSOAR can come in because XSOAR can glue both the security aspect and the business aspect of things. So you have the security team, internal employees, right? You want to give them a meaningful alerting.
Yeah.
You want to layer it with education, perhaps point them to somebody. And the key thing is how you deliver it. And XSOAR does that beautifully. So
that's the difference. The main difference here is though with the DLP platform and what most security admins consider is like, okay, when there's an event, I want to be notified of it.
Yes.
That's me as an admin being notified of it.
Yes.
Which is good, and we can do that via a number of means, like there's logs being generated and emails and whatever you want.
Yes.
But taking action on those alerts,
Actionable.
which is what Ong's question was here. Yeah, actionable. How do we do that? I walk in on a Monday morning and it's like, okay, there's my week done. I got to put that.
Alerting is also key. I remember back then when we server monitoring, I was doing that, like 10, 15 years ago. The administrator said, when the CPU spikes 100%, I want an alert.
Yeah.
Turn it on.
Yeah.
And a day later, it says, please switch it off.
Yeah. Make it stop.
So as an admin, if you have 10,000 incident, I'm going to have 10,000 email. Now, the beauty of XSOAR is that you can group that or however you want to do that, put in a nice context.
Well, yeah, you could use that engine to have, natively it's doing this, but when an incident is created, instead of it being 10,000 alerts, it will, if they're all related, causally related, it can basically create one incident for us to investigate. So that's XSOAR. I love XSOAR.
Exactly. So all this tech coming in, don't just talk about the features. Don't just talk about that silo. Talk about, I like thinking on the side, adjacent.
Yeah, right.
How they can apply. So XSOAR is SOC. Everyone just think XSOAR, SOC. But there's a huge benefit XSOAR can play in DLP, incident management. Because the traditional incident management is very fixated. Alert the manager, incident alert the manager.
That's what we were saying with the alerts that are generated. We can alert the admins or the security team.
Yes.
But with DLP, especially with DLP,
lot more roles.
We need to talk to the users.
You have the users, the manager.
Yeah.
Right. Data privacy officer.
Okay.
Risk officer. Data custodian, which are the business unit.
Right. And they're going to be different people depending on
different
scenarios.
Correct.
Yeah, and then obviously a tool like XSOAR can then say, well, because we've got this alert, it's relating to this user. Let's give an example of you uploaded a file to Google Drive and it contained hypersensitive information.
Exactly.
So number one, we'll block it.
Yep.
Which we can do inline. We can't, correct me if I'm wrong, we can't do that out of band, can we?
Out of band we do have, remember the incident that comes out. So out of band, we do notify the user. So we don't send per file. Imagine you got 20 files, we don't send 20 emails. So we actually, which is, linking to what XSOAR can do. So we actually group it. We send out once a day.
Yeah.
It says, dude, you have 20 files.
Yeah.
These are the.
I actually get an email sometimes saying,
you've
shared this, please review. And I'm like, no, I want to fucking share.
Yeah, are you sure?
Yeah.
So we have to be mindful of a lot of things. These guys they're working hard, right? They want to get things moving.
But that's like a daily notification piece.
Yes.
But we could take it to the next level through XSOAR by saying, well, this event's happened. So because it was sensitive data, I could probably remove the file using XSOAR.
Yeah.
I could notify the user to say the content you uploaded, not just are you sure you want to upload it, it contains sensitive data of this nature. We could even be specific about that.
Exactly.
And then notify the 3 or 4 other roles that you mentioned relating to that compliancy and offices and things.
Yeah, this is a huge topic because when you talk about, especially for DLP, not only I'm blocking stuff, I need to think about the human nature of stuff.
Right.
And XSOAR is awesome. It includes that aspect because I don't want to use the cane.
The cane?
Yeah, you're going to get the cane or the carrot, right? I can use
very
it in combination.
Singapore thing.
Yeah, it's a cane and carrot. Singapore is more cane, right? There's no carrot. So XSOAR can beautifully curate that. And I haven't even include the external customers.
Yeah.
If they send me a credit card to my support team, like, dude, don't give me that.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity. I know it's going to sound bad, but it's an opportunity to educate users who aren't our users.
Yes.
Hey, did you know, friendly client of ours, that you probably didn't want to do that?
Yeah, you can educate them versus, sir,
hard block.
You violated our corporate data privacy policy.
I don't care about your corporate policy. I'm
not
somebody
your employee.
else. I don't work for you.
So context,
interesting.
Yeah, context is very important. Very. And then resonate through AI as well, because AI looks into context of the document.
Yeah. And
how you want to take actions. Right? So we are in many iterations from that early days of CPU 100%, send you a notification. We are way...
Yeah, it's different ballgame.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah, XSOAR is my good friend.
Well, again, thanks. Again, if you're interested in XSOAR, I love it. Cool product, or XIM for that matter. Similar.
Oh, that's another. That's another dimension.
Different. Maybe another episode of Learning Happy Hour. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But thank you, Ong Jin Ching, for that question, and we'll send something cool your way. Awesome. Cheers. On that note, actually, so we've been talking for quite a while.
Yep.
Yesterday, me and you went to the Hawkers Market, the Hawker Centre.
Yeah.
And we had some interesting food. So let's talk about that journey now.
So, digitalization is not just in organization, it has a ripple effect to everyone. Now, Hawker in Singapore has a, long-standing story back, if you rewind back 50 years ago. These are people squatting with their stall, portable stall, they set up anywhere in the street, and, people, laborers, they can get feed, right? They have to generate the GDP for the government, right?
Yeah, right.
But there's a lot of issues there. So what the government did was they pack all these guys into this hawker center. Or food court, if you want the upper class one.
Gotcha.
So they address hygiene, so your food security, right? That's hygiene, right? We talk about zero trust.
Gut bacteria security.
That's not just cyber, but Hawker has a lot of trust in there too, right? So your food. So now I'm not eating your stall because your hygiene is poor, right? So the government will rate your store cleanliness. You get an A, B, C, D.
Oh, that's visibility.
That's visibility, right? Because I can't tell whether your food is fun. So they have
until it's too late.
Compliance, stuff like that, right? Until that. So that's on one level. Now the digitalization is important because cashless society. Yeah.
So when we went yesterday, you could pay by an app. So you can still pay.
QR code. Right?
Yeah, it's a QR code, and then everything is client side. So the stall owner has no
computers. In fact, you saw, right?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Nothing.
They're cooking. There's for small
space.
The
only electrical component is the cooker. And the radio station. That's it.
Some lights.
Maybe his phone in his pocket.
Maybe we don't even know.
Yes.
But but there's no way to verify that person's paid. So the people who are coming to buy the food, they just flash, look, I've paid, and that's it. And there's a trust thing. Singapore is probably one of the best places in the world for that trust.
Trust, yes.
But even here, you're telling me that
Yes.
people are being cheeky.
There's a couple of cheeky guys. And Hawker you saw is either 1, 2, maybe 3 at most. And there was a store we sat next to.
There's only one guy working. Yeah.
One guy.
Poor guy has to deal with people trying to pay or at least stating, hey, I've paid, and cook the food and clean up any mess he makes and deal with all the steam and the bloody humidity.
and our eyesight, some of us at our age is not really good. And the app, we would like to show them and validate, like it actually paid, right? And the font size is really small.
Yeah.
So what some of these cheeky guys did was he took a screenshot.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's pretty scummy.
So the stall name is very small. The date timestamp, I want to make sure that it's today's date and not yesterday's transaction.
Yeah, right.
It's really small. They may not have time. We'll see. And it's hard. So I'm really busy. The queue. You saw the queue. 20 guys queue up.
It went.
So
it's like spikes.
Yeah. So it's crazy, right? So and how much is a bowl of noodles? $5. And that's no good. Yeah. So I think that's your digitalization. That's your cashless society. Yeah. There's a long way to go. But I think our government is really good. They are picking this up. They are looking. I think it's what I see is the same thing. The communication, we have to do it not just within organization. It's a community effort. So like the banks could have increased, because they use different bank apps. They could have increased the font size.
Yeah, right. And it ties back to what we were talking about before with the maturity of SaaS apps, right?
Exactly.
So if us as consumers want to be more empowered, this is when you decide which bank should I go with. So I have got a few options. I would rather, as a consumer, even though sometimes it might be more expensive, the banks that have these features, the interest rates are a bit higher, things like that. But you are sometimes getting what you pay for. So you're getting better, more stable apps, but they also take these things into consideration. Like the bank example you said from, was it South Korea? Where they have that extra communication channel to confirm that...
Keystroke loggers and stuff like that.
Right. And that has a knock-on effect because it makes a more secure environment.
And operationally has some, side effects.
For sure.
Yes.
Both in terms of real world.
Yes.
as well as just feeling good.
Correct.
So with the Hawker app side of things, I guess you could say it's not just up to the Singaporean government to say, no, we need to mandate this, although that would help. It's also like...
community, joint effort. You have to do it collectively.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right, let's change tack. One last thing, which is, it's not a small thing, it's a really cool, another component.
Oh, yes.
So we've looked at SaaS Inline.
Yes.
We've started with the question we got, talking a little bit about cloud.
Yes.
Well, more than a little bit, about
how do you consume cloud, SaaS application, AI, all this, hot pot, the whole thing that's shifting the digital transformation.
Yeah.
We talked about out-of-band, sharing folders.
Yep.
Now, with SaaS application, there's one more thing that we have to look at because we are looking at every Windows and make sure that there's no open window, your data leak, the guys coming in, stealing stuff. So this is actually the same thing that we're doing for servers. We harden our servers, the configuration, password policies, MFA, and all that. You still have to do it in a SaaS application.
Yeah, so with the Google Drive scenario we're talking about, we've got, people are sharing files. I want to be able to track it. I can do that using tools like XSOAR or whatnot, but I can do it natively too.
You can do it API.
And Wildfire,
API.
But now we're talking, well, hang on a second. The SaaS app that you have, are you as an organization using that application to the most secure for whatever your business need is way?
I'll give you this metaphor. So we have decided that's the most secure SaaS apps. Finance love it.
Sure.
All right.
We're going with them.
We're going with them.
X.
And finance is like, I want to get my data in. Right? It's like moving to a new house.
Yeah.
Right? I want to move my furniture in.
Get it in there.
Get in. Now, the first thing first, before you want to move your crown jewels in, you have to make sure every window, every door, there's a lock in it.
Yeah. You want to secure the environment.
Yeah.
Secure the perimeter.
Yes, exactly. Very fundamental. Are we doing for SaaS application?
Not at all.
Not really?
No, as soon as you decide I'm going to use this app, you just yeehaw, Wild West. Everything gets pushed to where it goes.
You do not know what you don't know.
Works.
Yeah, you do not know what you don't know. And some of this configuration, you got no idea because there's a new features came out and the new features has these new configurations.
Yeah, right.
SaaS apps, right? The agile, like keep giving, take it, right? You have no control. You can't say, Mr. Salesforce, I don't want these features. Sorry, it's for all to consume, right? So that is a worrying thing. I think there's a recent case, right? Isn't it? With one of the SaaS vendor.
ServiceNow. Yeah. So we had a situation, and you can check out. There's quite a bit of documentation on it now.
Yeah.
But to my understanding, I read a little bit about it. There were some permissions that were pretty vague or not really defined, and it allowed you in a tool like ServiceNow to create like a widget, so like a dashboard. And that widget let you, without any permission restrictions, go and access a whole bunch of data. So if an attacker wanted to, they could use that mechanism to kind of not really bypass role-based access control, because bypassing it implies that there was protection, but to just access data that we wouldn't want them to access.
I think it was like putting a data on a platter and hand it to the attacker.
Pretty much. You just had to say that you wanted it. Yeah. You'd like that data? Sure. And
I think the configuration was something like default deny, and it was a true false.
But it wasn't set. I think it was interesting.
So default deny is false.
It did not by default block
it's like a master
access
switch.
to the traffic. Yeah, something like that. There's some double negatives there.
Yeah.
It was pretty, and it was a long time ago too. So I read a few articles that kind of mentioned when that was introduced as a feature.
Yes.
And I think it was like 2015 or something.
Correct.
And then for years that flag or that permission set wasn't manual, like it wasn't
open.
Yeah, they just left it as is.
Yeah.
The sad part is, I recall, and I shouldn't quote me on this. Do your own research on this.
Yes.
But from my recollection, the threat researcher who found this, he let them know, and hey, there's a situation, and some of their actions alluded that they knew about it, but nothing occurred until recently. It's been patched recently.
I think they did. The actions were quite fast.
But from what I understand,
yes.
We could see or control or implement some best practices to fix that. Because it's not that it's a vulnerability in the app.
It's not.
It's more that it's a setting that by default is poorly decided on.
Yeah, remember that shared responsibility.
Yes, whose is the customer's responsibility, the SaaS vendor's responsibility. And in this case, it's not ServiceNow's configuration. It's like, well,
why do I need to do that?
You should have secured it.
Exactly.
It's like, well, why did you have it as a default then?
So over here on the screen, I quickly have it up. So this is for Office 365. So every SaaS app, again, the maturity, whether they want to expose this is through API. So there's a lot of things that you can actually configure. I think one of the easy things is multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, okay.
If you're doing PCI, you must have that.
Yeah.
You'll fail the audit, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so there's a lot that you can do. Security, password.
Now this is not inline security anymore. We're talking about like it's more of a posture
check. Yes, this is a posture check. So it's API. So we'll connect the vendor will give us an API. We'll connect. They'll expose this configuration to us. We will cross-check it against security best practice, CIS, NIST, ISO, PCI. Yeah. So we'll tell you, in this case, I have a couple of violations. I did really do quite well. I passed in, have more than one global administrator.
Okay, well, what did you violate? There's one above that you did. Enable policy to block legacy authentication.
Exactly, there's a lot. App hardening as well is in there as well. Cross-site scripting, you can actually disable that if you want. Because, they will tell you, if you enable this business function, you actually open up for cross-site scripting. Upload a JavaScript web page.
And then execute it across.
So heaps of stuff. Please do this. It's very easy. Just onboard it. Couple of minutes. We'll pull up this. Now the hard part is which one to configure. Because mindful business, we always think of business.
That's right. Back to communication. Back to making sure.
Communication.
Hang on. We need that legacy authentication. Even though it fails here, we have a business case to justify why that's okay.
I need to do an API connection in the back end. We should leverage the legacy connector.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So always collaborate.
Could you tie that, even high level?
Yeah.
Could you tie that now, which is you're allowing legacy authentication. if this SaaS app supports the whitelisting, could we then say it's okay because I'm using the whitelisting method?
So the whitelisting is tricky. Sometimes they may not apply to API. They more applying to the actual user connect. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
So the API. So and then this API connection could be happening from your server on-prem. So if you tie back to the SaaS Security Inline, I can actually say, hey, hang on, it's not a user, it's a server connecting to Salesforce, SaaS Application.
Yeah, API calls.
And then bang, it's not user, because a lot of time people focus too much on the user.
Yeah.
But now, digital transformation, on-prem app, in fact, it could be not just on-prem, your AWS.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Yeah. Interesting.
So multiple angles. Another one I want to bring up, application, they're just beautiful. ChatGPT, SaaS apps. Now, if you realize...
Now, this is within Office you're talking about.
Oh, this is tricky.
Yeah.
I'll show you one of these. So, in Office...
Right.
Teams, this nice little icon. Click that.
So a lot of the SaaS applications are enabling
being
extensible, maybe you call it. Yeah. So you can add widgets and code and bots and things.
Supply chain internal. My developer can develop that too.
Yeah, I've used it for. I don't know. Do you know what Discord is?
Oh yes,
the chat
I love
app.
That. Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Very useful.
Yeah.
So I've got a it's a weird story, but I have I developed. I copy and pasted code that allowed me to create a chat bot for Discord that then ties into my home automation stuff. So then I can send my home. It sounds weird. Send my home a message via Discord, and then it goes and does all this extra stuff. But that bot is an extension of Discord. So it's kind of like Discord as a SaaS app.
Yes.
Extra little plugin or application, third party that I wrote that is poor, but it's still like I don't know if that code's good.
Funny you mentioned that. I did that for Telegram, by the way.
Okay, yeah, same concept, right?
Yeah.
For home automation, no.
No, something else.
Okay, secret.
Data analytics stuff.
Oh, okay. Actually, you have your hobby. One of your hobbies. We haven't spoken about it.
Yeah.
Photography.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about.
Yes.
and coding, data.
Coding, yeah. Data.
Yeah. Interesting.
I like to see,
Yeah. My university lecturer told me my coding is creative.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so speaking of which, so we've got Office 365 and you can add
heaps. And think about it, these apps when you add, some of them require permission.
Yes.
They want to look at the data.
The Discord one I had to, there's several hoops I had to jump through to.
So if I go back, so here I onboarded my Office 365, awesome. We just did the vulnerability, the configuration stuff. We hardened it.
Best practice list. We're happy with what we got. Some of them have failed. We justify them. It's
Business are happy. They can still operate. Now, because it's so easy for the user to install, we can pull this information, Office 365, what are the plugins that were installed. You can see Salesforce. Someone installed a Salesforce plugin. Could be a user. Cyber Day. Wow, that's cool. Let's install that. Right, and each of these, they may or may not have permission. Like, let's look at Cyber Day. These third-party apps like this Cyber Day, that's so cool.
Cyber Day.
Cyber Day, right? Yeah, I'm a practitioner. I want to be like updated.
What is Cyber Day?
Got no idea. I just installed it. It looks so.
It looks cool.
I'm a practitioner. I want to know more, right? When I install, he asked me like offline access. He wanted access. Take it.
Yeah, sure.
I want to know more, right? What can you do? Email delegator.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So now a third party have access to my stuff.
Right, and we haven't really vetted it.
We have not.
We don't know if it's, like, we don't even know what it does.
Yes, we're talking about SaaS apps. These are like a SaaS apps, by the way.
Yeah.
And if they're poor hygiene and they're compromised, guess what happens? The attacker can see my stuff.
Kind of like I was going to say kind of like the Google Drive example where we're offering partner access, but it's not. This is
similar,
different. This is
similar.
different.
Yeah. At least I can knock on the guy and say, hello.
Yeah. But this is right.
No.
So we have a SaaS application like Office 365, but it's kind of like a SaaS app,
yes.
which it's a bit no man's land because you can just
correct.
If you have some of them, it's like a user-based install. Like you can have a plugin.
You have user-based, you have organization. Some of these you can see organization-based.
Right, which you need permissions.
Yes.
But often the administrators for these systems aren't security conscious. We'll say.
Yes. The other angle, like ServiceNow, people are furiously developing these apps. They hire vendors because I want to do automation, I want to do connectivity, I want to do all stuff. And developers being developer, I need to achieve this. I need permission. Developers being developer, they have to be, right? And they ask for permission. Now, the question is, who is vetting these authorizations?
Yeah.
And it's not one. Developers who have multiple apps and they can install that. And we can audit this.
Yeah. It's also hard from anyone else's perspective, dealing with the dev team.
Yeah.
Because they're I need this. And you're like, why? And then they'll be like, because, and then they'll spit out these libraries. This is, I'm like, okay, you know what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't, there's a hard communication barrier there.
And that's what we talked about with business. Even within IT and security, they don't talk.
Yeah.
So I was a developer before, but the network teams there's
a disconnect. And even if you have the best intentions, it's still hard to it's a different language.
So we're giving you the visibility so you can do that audit. Right. You can approve this app, disapprove this actionable. So if there's user base, I can actually revoke his access. Right. We are going to put in more, maybe a risk scoring in each of these apps, where we bring in data from different angle.
Okay.
Sounds like exporting.
It does.
Data enrichment.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. Yeah. So this is a lot of things that's happening within the SaaS apps that is so overwhelming. Right, digital transformation is so different than just moving a server to the cloud. There's things that happening behind the scenes, the out of band, whatever you can call it.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone. I can't recall a time where I've considered SaaS within SaaS as a security risk. I just until you brought it up, I'm like,
it's mind-boggling.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people out there actually actively think about this.
Not security, not security, but the business side, the developers, they are already using it. So, for security team, I don't care where you're network, as a practitioner, you should look at it. I mean, be more familiar with the application. How's it being used? Try it out, stuff like that. Yeah. But this is mind-boggling. We definitely have to look at this. If I'm a threat actor,
the
the next shiny thing.
That's the vector right there.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is showing us per application, and then we've got these scopes on the side?
Yes, scopes, that's the permission the application
has been granted.
And then you have the users, how many, if it's a user-based installation, how many the users have installed it.
So if we went to like Salesforce or something on the left here?
Yeah. So this was just, I was just trying out. I could pivot into, we support like the SaaS, I didn't talk about this, the posture management.
Yes.
We support over 90 apps. SaaS applications. And
gotcha.
Yep. So there's
a lot of violations on that one.
A lot, yes. So here I have these are user base. Right. I could pivot to users and we'll pick this user in particular. Right. So if I didn't like this, I could revoke his access.
Right.
So I can do the compliance, says, yes, this is approved. We actually reviewed it. I'll approve it.
Yep.
That's cool.
But then if you wanted to per user say it's approved, but not for you. If you wanted to.
Special privileges.
Right. And this falls under different license.
Under the SaaS Security umbrella.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about Inline?
Yeah.
We spoke a little bit about the API, which is, the outer band.
Yep.
This is a posture management.
So Inline, outer band, posture management. Are they individual licenses?
Yes, you can get individual. Now, if you want to make purchasing easy, right, and you don't have holes and so on, we have this CASB bundle.
Right.
Which can apply to Prisma Access as well as extend it to your firewall.
Okay, right.
So we have various bundles. It makes procurement life easy,
Yeah.
You don't have too many. And
does that include all three of those?
So the CASB bundle is interesting. We have CASB Prisma Access bundle and CASB X, which extend to the firewall.
Right.
So you get the full SaaS.
So it's called CASB X?
CASB X, which is extend all the way to your firewall.
Okay, right.
All the way to your firewall.
Perimeter
firewall.
Does CASB X include Prisma Access and firewall, or is it?
Yes. Okay. Yes, it includes that bundle as well. The extension. So SaaS Security, the 3 modules that we talked about, Inline, the API, and the posture, that's included. And one more thing, DLP is included as well.
Yeah, okay. We haven't. We talked about the question came up, but we haven't.
Yeah, we haven't
we don't have time for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a huge topic area.
That's also your area of expertise, right?
Of course,
Kwok?
yes.
So you've got the CDSS champion, but you've got so you know all about inline, out of band.
Yes.
Posture.
Yes.
DLP. Anything else in that umbrella or your realm of?
I think anything about data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Not just web traffic. I have to be mindful. I can't just say it's just data. So right.
Just data.
SaaS application. I'm good with applications.
Right.
I've been developing that and how businesses are using that.
Yeah.
So when we help customer to implement day 2, we want to make sure that we don't disrupt the business.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right.
Which is the communication piece.
Yeah, it's a whole ecosystem that you have to coexist, no? Efficient on one hand, accelerate the adoption of SaaS apps, roll out the services fast, and yet secure.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I have one last question then.
Yep.
The licensing, I'm excited about this inline one. That's my favorite.
That's my favorite too.
Oh yeah. So with the inline piece, if I've got a customer or if myself, I have a firewall at home. If I wanted to extend or put my app ID on steroids with this, is it licensed per per firewall or per tenant, per CSP account or what? How does that?
So we have a various model. We can go by per firewall.
Yeah.
So it's like a percentage of file. We could also, like, if you're looking at complete coverage, you're doing a SASE, Prisma Access and all that, the CASB, for example, is by per user per year.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's a huge difference because think about the rate at which organizations are consuming SaaS application. The old way of doing by per SaaS apps per user per year, that's kind of hindering, blocking the business trying to grow because I have to accelerate, no? So there's more cost. The more SaaS apps are consumed, the more. For us, unlimited SaaS apps. Whatever you support, onboard as many as well.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. As in, like once you're licensed for it, it's
just bring
the whole thing. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
So I may have marketing have their own Office 365 tenant because they run some special domain. The way we craft
a dev
it.
environment for other SaaS apps and stuff.
Bring it on.
It's no difference. Yeah, that's good.
That's
I'm glad that would be
point.
annoying to charge I want a dev environment to test stuff, but then I have to pay not only for the dev environment, I have to pay for our security suite on top of it and everything else.
So it slows a lot of things down. So security says, I need to get budget now. Because it's
3 years later.
And then and then finance says, I need to roll this out now.
Yeah, you want to be agile with that kind of stuff.
So,
okay, that's kind of cool.
So
but I appreciate that it's still, if you're a smaller player and you're like, I just have 2 firewalls, you would just say, okay, cool, I want to enable those for SaaS Inline.
So I think our solution licensing, very flexible in how you want to do your transformation on your platform. And most importantly, we won't leave behind your legacy applications because the user need to have access to it.
Yeah.
They may not be web traffic.
Yeah.
And you want that zero trust applied to that too.
From wherever they're going from.
Correct. Everyone is inclusive.
Dispersed. Yeah.
It's very inclusive.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, mate. You've shown me a lot of stuff. I learned a lot. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Kwok. Thanks for your time.
No worries.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can see you again. Maybe we can do a session on DLP.
Exactly. And that's your XSOAR, your favorite topic.
Yeah, I'm happy to bring it in next time.
Yeah, we can merge the two.
Well, cool. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Again, if you have any questions on anything we've covered, feel free to chuck it in chat.
Yeah.
We've got the Google form question as well. So if you have a question that you want to have answered in a future episode potentially of Learning Happy Hour, please submit a question down below. And if yours gets selected, as I said, you will get some swag in the mail.
Wow.
On Chin Ching, something's coming your way.
Cool.
And other than that, if you want to learn more about Palo Alto Networks and specifically get trained in some of the tech that we have, unfortunately we don't have a course specifically around
soon.
Maybe around SaaS Inline or out of band or DLP. We do have some digital learning online, depending on if you're a partner or not. But courseware, check out the link below. We have probably the closest thing would be our firewall training, to be honest.
That'll be a good start. No?
Yeah, EDU 210 if you're interested in that. Link below to where you can get trained on that too. And thanks again, Kwok. I really appreciate the time you've put into this.
Yeah.
I want to get a license for my home firewall so I can try this.
Oh yeah, put it. Yeah. That'll be awesome.
Anyway, see you guys. Thanks. Cool.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。嘘だったらそうだったら僕の最後のギフトあげるよ。